Hey, it's Father Time here. I'm going to make a quick review. It's probably going to take 30 minutes, actually, of the new Horizon Simulation 787-9. Came out 3 days ago, October 27th. Today is October 30th. You need the premium deluxe version of Microsoft Flight Simulator to do this, because it is a workup of the 787-10 by ASOBO on the premium deluxe version of Microsoft Flight Simulator, as is the Kuro 787-8. 787-9 is, I think, the most popular version of the Dreamliner. If you take a look here, let me just put in aircraft selection, 787-9. Comes in two versions, 787-9 with GEs, 787-9 with Rolls Royces. And if you take a look at the liveries for each one, there's 787 with GEs. I downloaded a custom American Airlines one because I am an American Airlines pilot for 36 years until 6 weeks ago when I retired. Never flew this, flew the 777, but I've been flying around the quite a bit. I know a lot about this. I'm going to give you a great review, show you how to do things on this thing. Feel free to leave comments, suggestions, whatever. You can see all the liveries that are available through free downloads. So it's free, but you got to have Premium Deluxe. So let's go back to, we're going to go to Payne Field, spot 75. Remember that, because I'm going to show you why. I'll be right back. That obnoxious noise you hear is the stairs from GSX being raised to the door. There it is, 787-900 by Horizon Simulations. It's a beautiful airplane, just like the ASOBO 787-10 and the Kuro 787-8. But this is beautiful as well. This is on flightsim.to, flightsim.to, FreakyD. It's called Payne Field, Seattle Payne International in Everett, Washington. KPAE, free download. This is the paint factory for Boeing. That's I think the 777 wing is built in there. FreakyD actually works over here in this building. But you can fly around. If you're an airplane enthusiast, and just look at these airplanes that he has put on here for free, that guy. So anyway, these are 76 200s that the KC-45s for the air refueling tankers for the Air Force. You get the idea. Just fly around, take a look. It's a blast. What a great free sim. We're going to taxi out here. We're going to push back off 75 and taxi out, take off on 16, and just do one pattern to a full stop. Hopefully show you a good landing. But I'm the guy to show you this because I have a lot of time in Boeings, and I know how to do things properly. So let's take a look. Let's go inside. Nice job, FreakyD. Nice job, my friend. Let's go inside. Cold, dark airplane. Get this thing started. The cabin detail is not there, just like the ASOBO 777. We can actually do GSX with it if we wanted, right? Want to get some people coming out here? Sure. Request boarding. Prepare. Request boarding.
Boarding requested. Do you want to board crew?
Yeah. Brought them all.
Crew bus is coming.
And what we'll do is we'll have all the people get on. It's a ramp. What are we doing? I don't know. We're taking them up for a test flight in the new Horizon, and we got a full Boeing load of employees. They're all excited because Horizon has just built this. So like all of the airplanes, you come in the cockpit, you check for all the circuit breakers. Any circuit breakers pop, you don't touch them. You got the crash act, you got the you got the portable breathing equipment, you got the halon fire extinguisher bottles in the green. That's back here. Looking for life preservers. That's the first FB seat. That's the FC seat for extra pilots, jump seats. Come up the middle. You would have looked outside, make sure nobody's working on anything outside. Look at the logbook. Look for any maintenance placards, anything in here that would indicate you should not be touching anything. The phone's in the handle, and comes with presets. I've changed them a little bit. We got the fuel control switches to cut off. We got the stab trim switches.
Pilot's boarding starting.
They're up. We've got the throttles at idle. Thrust, reverse levers are down. Speed brake levers down. Flaps are up, and gear handle is down. On the overhead, We're going to look up here, make sure that the wipers are off, believe it or not, before we turn on everything, and the radar is off down there. Now we're going to put on the battery because we know it's clear. We looked at the logbook. Everything's good. Battery's coming on. They looks like they got all sorts of external force put on. And let's start the APU just to keep it cool for the people getting on with the APU. Before we started that, we would have done the fire test, but we're going to just go ahead and start that bad boy up. And with that, we're going to put on the IRSs, and we'll do the overhead in a minute. Let's go down here and get this started. The modifications on the electronic flight bag and on the
Crew boarding
FMC,
starting.
that is a present in the ASOBO-10 is present on this one. So 7-7-9, these are GEs. We could have loaded it with Rolls Royces. The database is good through November 1st. Today's October 30th. If you want to change it, click here, drop them in there. Position. We'll put in KPAE. Don't forget to download this, guys. It is just gorgeous. Gorgeous job by FreakyD. It's a friend of mine. And drop in the coordinates. Its aligning takes 10 minutes. Now, with this mod, you don't do this on the real airplane, but you go to index settings. And what you're going to have to do is put in your user ID for SimBrief. Either your username or your user ID. So sign up for your free SimBrief account. Go back to index, settings again, weight and balance, and operation flight plan, load it on up. And there we go. It's in there. Completed. Now we can go to route, and we're going to put in, let me see here, how about KPAE. Take a look at our Navigraph. And on the Navigraph, I am just going to do a circuit pattern. But if you wanted to download from your SimBrief, you just hit route request, and it will download for you. And then you have to put in the departures and arrival. But today, we're not going to do that because we're going to stay local and just do a pattern sortie in the interest of saving time. Double click that, KPAE to KPAE. All right, and it's going to be runway 16 left. 16 left. Now 16 left is tiny runway. It's 16 right. I'm sorry, guys. 16 right. First of several mistakes. 16 right. And flight number Horizon Simulations. We'll just go HORZ01 since my first flight in it. In honor of my first flight. Horizon 01. Activate it and execute it. But if you wanted to, you could have had a SimBrief and hit route and updated that just like on the Dash 10. It's fantastic. So we got that. We'll go perf init. We're going to go 0 fuel weight. If you already have a flight plan in there, it'll update that for you. Reserves, cruise altitude. We're just going to go up to 3,000, level off, come back around and do an ILS. They got a great ILS here. Cost index 50. And that's good. I have lots of videos out there on the, we just go TO, 2, and 40. We'll derate these things quite a bit. Long runway. TO2 climb, takeoff. I'm just going to do flaps 5. But you know what we'll do is I'll show you how to use the electronic flight bag at this time. So,
Passengers bus is coming.
Initialize the flight. Performance. KPAE 16 right. And the winds are 160 at 10. Outside air temperature is 15. 2992 is the altimeter. There's our 0 fuel weight. It's all set. You come in here. Runway condition is dry. Passengers coming on. Thrust ratings optimum. Flap configuration is optimum. Air conditioning configuration, as always, is auto. And there's nothing, and you can calculate it. CG we can put in here 28. Calculate. Now, the beauty of this is you can send this over to your FMC by clicking send output. But you can see we're a TO2 dry. We've got a selected temp
Passengers
of
boarding
53
starting.
and flaps 5, 146. So let's go back in here. 146 is going to go into V2. I should go the other way, huh? $146. Heading. And it's 162. I'm using my Logitech here, guys, in the interest of saving time. And our altitude, we're just going to level off at 3,000 feet for pattern work. We can put in VNAV. We'll use heading hold on departure. Auto throttles are on. Flight directors are on. Okay. So in here, it's if you go to takeoff page, we can accept it because we sent the data over, right? There it is. Click on the CG. Tells you what it is. Pre-flight complete. The truth is, you can go to legs, route data, winds, VNAV, climb forecast. You can update that, and you can get all the winds in for climb, descent, route. Comes. So legs.
Passengers
Legs.
bus is coming.
Route data, wind request. Anyway, come in. You could load up all the winds, but yeah, there is no route really here, so that's it. So let's go init, index, double check things here. We've got a 787-9 Gen X GE's date's good, position's good, still aligning, routes in here. We're going to just do departure arrival. We're going to do a SID. There is no SID, 16 right. And then we're going to come back around and do the ILS Zulu to 16 right there. Okay? And that's it. We would walk through the route. We'd look through the leg page using plan up here and step through it. And once we both agreed, we continue with the checklist. Let's go outside, see what's going on out there. Looks like some more passengers coming on board. I love this stuff, don't you?
Passengers boarding starting.
Horizon Simulations. Microsoft Flight Simulator is absolutely the best. I was over on P3D for quite a while, and it's just no comparison. So we get a little bit of time here. Let's go back in and finish the pre-flight. So we did the takeoff data. We loaded the box. Let's go to the overhead and get started. Flight control surfaces. All the lights are out. Irises are now fully aligned. I have it on rapid align. Electrical panels good. No unwanted lights. APU. I believe it started. Let's take a look. No, it did not start. Otherwise, it would say APU available here, and it doesn't. And also, it would say it here, but it doesn't. So let's go back to the overhead, and we'll start the APU again. Obviously would have done the fire test before that. So we're coming down here. Electrical panel's good. All these are normal lights. Low oil pressure, high oil temperature will give you a drive light. Disconnect them in flight. They remain disconnected for the entire flight. Maintenance can only do it. Washers, we talked about those. Flight director door power is on. Emergency lights are armed. Passenger oxygen switch is guarded. Service interphone is off. Window heat's on. These are hydraulic pumps. They're all set. Passenger seats. Too early to put that on. All the lights are off except for nav lights. When we get engine start, we'll go beacons.
Passengers bus is coming.
Another passenger bus is coming. Bringing a lot of people down for the inaugural flight, one pattern around. Little test flight that FreakyD arranged for us. Here's where you do the fire test, cargo and fire test. You know about that. This is when we're going to start. You start them both at the same time. It's going to go to start and then few levers up. Both starts, electric start. All right, go here. And the ice should leave them in auto. Engine, if you were going to use the engine on the ground, it was 10 degrees less of visible moisture, you'd have to put those on. They don't automatically come on the ground. Wing, comes on if you get, there's a little probe that goes around. If it gets icing, I think once every 5 cycles, it comes on. Basically, you would put it on manually above 1,000 feet, not on the ground, above 1,000 feet if you got a bunch of icing on your windshield. But it's pretty much an automatic system. Except for after engine start, it won't come on. You have to manually put them on until
Passengers
you take
boarding
off.
starting.
Okay. Humid here. Cargo temps all good. Air conditioning, everything's on. Recirc fans are on. Equipment cooling, these are smoke. There's smoke. They would all open. Overboard exhaust valve. Trim air's on. Ventilation's on. Packs in auto, not manual. Wipers are good. Now you come down to the panel. Everybody sets their own panel. Captain would start, he'd do his side. Mask, check his oxygen. His or hers, right guys? Gotta be politically correct. Lights are good. Let me talk to you about the lights a little bit. I think you'll find that interesting. See this master bright? That controls every lighting switch in the cockpit if it's on the dot, if it's in the middle. See the little dot right there? You guys see that? If you come on the dot and adjust this manually, then the master doesn't control it. But as long as it's on the dot, it controls any light switch that's on the dot. You see the little dot right there? This is the heaters, charts. This is your transfer switches are all in the normal and auto position. You got up here, if you want to know what your cell call is, here it is. That's your tail number. That's your clock, the lapse time. Clock happens to be wrong. You got toga, VNAV, bugs are set. Usually on the takeoff page, something I did not check, and that, go to takeoff, is page
Passengers
2.
bus is coming.
1500 reduction, 1500 acceleration, 800 is the engine out. And that way VNAV works for engine out. It never come out of VNAV. It's pretty cool. Engine out, 800. If it's that's an NADP number 2, which is in the US and some other countries, that if you're taking off on the water. But in Europe, a lot of times, NADP 1, you would change the leave thrust reduction of 1500, leave the engine out at 800, whatever your airline is. Excel, you change to 3000. Don't worry about the winds there. Forgot to mention all that to you. Back up here. So he'd set the altimeters, field elevation here at Payne Field is 600 feet, 608, and you can see about 580, spot elevation about 580. So that's right, the altimeter, but I just have it on Tuna 92 as the altimeter. You set that, and this one does work. You would have to come over here as well and set it. And I always double check with the field elevation, spot elevation versus with the altimeter.
Passengers boarding starting.
Double checking that. Engine out acceleration, most guys will set up 810 feet in here. Well, here we're 600, so it'd be about 1400, right? 1400. That's in the ballpark. Good enough. But VNAV's going to do it. That's just a reminder. It's essentially a note here. If you ever want to change from inches to hectopascals for over in Europe and other places, you go here. There's 1013 there. And if you want to go standard, you just push here, standard. But we're not going to do that. We're going to actually go to we're going to stay below 18,000. All right, this little panel here controls what shows up down here. If you want a nav display in here, that's fine. If you wanted system here, that's right here. That's the left one. So that's left, that's right. So this is the pilot's PFD, and we usually use this one as a nav display, and this one as an engine. So if you want to change this one, you go here, you can put systems, you can put CDU, you can put everything but Y, right? So we typically just go nav display. And here we typically, on this one, we just usually keep up systems. But you could put CDU there, you could put COM, Could put a lot of other things, but we're just going to leave it like that. Hold on 1 second. I don't know how I got that one messed up, but I did. Nav display. Okay, and then here I wanted to put in nav display. There we go. But that's how you manipulate those. You come across, and that be the captain's done. I like to have on traffic here and terrain. You can put weather if you want. That's terrain and traffic. There's high terrain here. If you want to change and display data, which I always like to have airports, traffic, terrain, and data if there's no weather. Okay, airports, traffic, data. The reason I like data is that way anything that's on here, any altitude restrictions, shows up right on your nav display. So that's how I run those, turn that off. So that's how you manipulate here on a little touchscreen. The pad, if you ever were in the real airplane, is down here. So this says who's controlling it. So if I click left, and I can scroll around here, and then I enter. So you sit here, you can scroll around and enter right there. So you can scroll to a certain point, click on it with this little button here. Anyway, and then otherwise, if only one of you can be controlling the scroller at the same time, so it could be if the FO is controlling it, he'll be on the right, you'll not be able to do anything. You have to take control with the left. That's a scroll pad. Doesn't work in this thing that I'm aware of. Okay, once the flight control panel, the MCP is set, the FO is set there. You come right down the middle. Typically, this guy will be in a nav display. Okay, right down the middle, gear handles down. Got RTO set on the brakes. Let me get the doors shut. GSX. Get out of here. Prepare for pushback and departure. Gear handles down. Alternate gear switch down. Auto brakes are in RTO. We did a lot of this, but throttle quadrant. Speed brake levers down. Thrust levers down. Fuel levers are down. Thrust levers are down. Fuel control switches are cut off. Alternate flap switches are off.
Hello, Captain.
That's
we are ready for pushback.
Fire switches are in. And check the trim. Rudder trim 0 here. And we check up here. On the ground, on the... I'm going to ignore him for now, guys. In here, it's just like the 7A200. Let's see. Ground here is 121.9. Put that here.
Departure checks completed.
Switch it over.
Bypass pin inserted.
In 1.191, this tower. Put that on this side. Radio number 2, the center one, is usually used for data. In other words, that's for the ACARs. You'll see data here. We put a departure freak in, whatever we get on clearance, over here for a reminder. Use it kind of like a notepad. On the right radio, over here, the pilot flying, monitoring. We usually put in ramp control, whoever he's going to push back with. Let's say that's 120.99. And over here, move it, 129.9, and then we'll peak guard for most of the flight, 121.5 over here. We'll assume that we're all set there. They're ready for pushback downstairs, but we'll be a minute. Transponder, we're going to put in our code 3423, even though we're staying in the pattern. 3423. If you want to look above you more, I think it's plus or minus 2,500 feet. Don't quote me on that. But let's say you were climbing, a lot of airlines will put it in above. That'll go up 8,500 feet and 2,500 below. If you can put it below, it'll go 8,500 below, 2,500 above. So, but this one, it's just 25 and 25. Not positive that's exactly correct. And we turn on transponder. The ASOBO 787-10, this switch doesn't work. It works now on this one, so I like that. You can't have two at once, though. FO can't be on here, captain here, doesn't matter. This is how you talk to the ground crew. Usually you don't have a speaker on. You usually hit flight, interphone, toggle up here, go speaker. Doesn't work on this. So at this point, I would ask Bob, my FO, to do the checklist. Click checklist here. Passenger signs. Passenger signs are on. Back to the checklist. MCP, we already checked that, but 146, 162, 3000. You want to make sure also you're in IS, not Mach, heading, vertical speed, and that all looks good. You're in 1000 here, and so it's, and you're checked all 5 switches off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is it. Things are going to heck. Turn off this. You'll get rid of all the automation. You can hand fly the airplane. You can go click on the throttles and the yoke, but this one will get rid of everything too. Auto throttles and autopilot. Okay, so back to the checklist. Takeoff speeds, we checked those ad nauseum. CDU pre-flight, I talked to you how to do that. Takeoff trim is right here. It's usually on the takeoff page, isn't it? Why that was 70. And the takeoff trim's right here, 3.25 is what you want to set. After your closeout, when you get your final numbers, you want to reset your zero fuel weight. You'll get your whatever you're going to use right here, 3.25. That's right at the beginning of there. Makes me a little nervous. We'll leave it right there. I don't want to get a takeoff trim warning, but this is where you get your takeoff trim. And I'm going to go item override. Taxi takeoff brief, we give that to Bob. And now we're cleared to push, so let's go back to the overhead. And I'm going to get my hydraulic pumps on. We go clockwise, so there's no fluid transfer. We don't have much fuel. I don't think we have any fuel in the center, so we just put fuel on, put the hydraulics on that way, fuel, and then we go, the beacons are on, and Bob checks the doors shut. And the beacons are on, taxi check's complete. Before start check is complete. And I like to check the messages. He will go recall. Look for any messages here. Seatbelt sign, this is doors and manual. Auto APU is running. Parking brake is set. And we're ready for pushback. Let's go outside and see what it looks like out there. They're ready. Let me talk to you a little bit about pushback. I can give you the drone view so you know where we're going. Here at Payne Field. We're going to push back nose right into this alley. Then we're going to take a right here. And we're going to go all the way up to the end of 16 right. All right, then we'll come back in and land. Let's do it. Oh, sorry you had to see that. All right. Come in with GSX. And we'll tell them ready, boarding complete, continue pushback. And we want nose right.
Release parking brakes, please.
Sure.
Commencing push.
You release
All
the brakes
engines clear.
and you
Start
look
at
here.
will.
All right, start at will. So you go to the overhead. We can start both at once. Start, back down to the throttle quadrant, and let me go to the radio view. It's a little clearer. Up, electric start, both at once. And we monitor the engines. It's auto starting. It'll start, I think, 3 times. Big thing here, of course, you want oil pressure. There it goes. EGT's come up. See this little red tick mark? When that goes away, you have a full engine start. Up until then, you don't. I'm going to let Bob start the airplane. Let's go look outside. I love this stuff, man. So this is the Horizon Simulation 787-9. Flew for American Airlines for 30 years, guys. Retired in September. I thought 36 years. I got hired in 87. Before that, I was in the Air Force. Before that, the Air Force Academy. New to the flight sim world, 7 months or so. I think we have 1,260 subscribers, about 160 guys over in our Discord. real healthy community, really helpful community. The guys do mostly on their own over there on Discord and help each other. I come in, I answer questions, I have my questions answered, and they're a fantastic group of individuals. I'm really thrilled with the community. This flight sim community in general is phenomenally non-toxic and helpful. It's great, but yeah. We do mostly instructional videos. We have some fun. My videos tend to be long because I do a lot of cold, dark stuff. Once in a while I'll throw together unusual attitudes or stalls or important topics, but generally it's cold, dark to cold, dark. Well, he's really giving us a deep push here, isn't he? It's okay. We'll take a deep push. We got 2 good engine starts.
Please set parking brakes.
Brakes are set.
Waiting your confirmation for a good engine start.
All right, let's do that. And we always look out before you set the brakes. We always make sure that we're stopped. Otherwise, you can break the tow bar.
Cockpit to ground. We have a good engine start. You can disconnect.
Let's go to the overhead, guys. Get the APU off. Come back down here, and I would call for flaps to 5 and checklist. So anti-ice is not needed. For recall, we just come up here, push either one of the recall switches. Make sure we don't get anything here. Flight controls.
Unlocking gear.
Go systems. Flight controls. We wouldn't do this till they were gone, guys. But I want to end this video full. We go full on all the flight controls. FO usually does the elevators and the ailerons. Captain does the rudders.
Bypass pin removed.
Never do this until they were disconnected.
Left is clear. Right is clear.
All right, these are done. So the taxi checks, 4 taxi checks complete, and 4 takeoff checks complete. And we call for taxi, right? And what's he doing? This young fella. But we would yeah, let me do this, guys. We flash the taxi lights to get him to go. And away we go. A little bit of power, 40% breakaway thrust. Parking brake is released right now. Let's see the light go out. APU is cooling down. We'll go take off and come back around, do an ILS in the Horizon Simulation 787-9. I'm going to come outside so we can see where we're going. 10 knots is a good speed to turn at, guys. 10 knots. You can see right now our ground speed is 9. You get much over 10 in Microsoft Flight Simulator, the thing does not want to turn for you. I know P3D when I was over there flying the 777. I used to do that. That's kind of, I have about 115 videos, guys. Used to do a lot of P3D because when I was active on the 777, I couldn't afford to be doing all the different airframes. I was going to work, and my 64-year-old mind at the time couldn't handle it. So there's no checklist on the in the sim here, but on the real airline, we go take off data and bugs because we get a load closeout. We go weights, winds, and temperatures. Weights, winds, and temperatures. So we're a flex power takeoff. So our weights are below assumed. So it's takeoff weight that we plan plus 3,000. That's for flex takeoff. And we make sure that we're below that. Update to 0 fuel weight. Winds, if we had a tailwind, we'd subtract about 3,500 pounds per knot. So 10 knots of tailwind would do 35,000 off the runway limited weight. Yeah, he's going. But here today we have headwind. Why don't I get the taxi diagram out here? We actually have these in the airplane with the little moving Jim Jam on it. Here he is. That's a Jim Jam. We're just taking the ramp all the way. We'll turn here. And then, and temperature. You can see that the temperature here is 15. If we were doing a max power takeoff and it was 16, we need all new numbers. See, I'm doing 15 knots. That's too fast in Microsoft Flight Simulator. It'd be tough for it to turn. Weights, winds, and temperatures are checked. And then MCP and radios, we check the MCP, 146, 162, and 10,000 and 3,000. And we check the active runway is 16 right, because that's what we planned on. That's 16 right. That's taxiway Alpha. We'll join it. Full length. And American Payne Tower, you're clear for takeoff 16 right. Clear for takeoff 16 right. American. Not American, right, guys? Horizon 123. And that's high intensity lights, they're all on. It's a miracle, I stayed on the runway. And of course, we have all these Boeing passengers. So excited to be here. Cabin chime them. And flight attendants prepare for takeoff. Get the HUD down. HUD's not giving me a great representation right now, but we'll leave it on there anyway. 16 right, looks like 16 right, finals clear. Clear left, clear right. Turn on here. $16 right. Get it steering straight, check the runway heading. And what kind of base should we do? How about if we do a left base? Bring the power up about 40%. Toga. We got Toga here. Throttles come up. And now we're looking to keep the... This is where your nose is, guys, right on the speed tape. That's where your nose is. At 80. Cross-check the cockpit, 80. Remember, we're only level off at 3,000, 600-foot field elevation, so it's going to be a quick level off. There's V1. And you call rotate. It's only going to be about 15 degrees nose higher, so positive rate, gear up. Remember, we're leveling at 3. Just told us we got a tail strike. I don't think so. But I'm open to it. There's 2 for 3. Flaps up. Flats up. Leveling at 3. About 2.5 degrees nose high. Here we go. Alright, autopilot's on. 3,000, 250 knots. It says we got a tail strike, guys. I'm open to it. Maybe I did it. Maybe I rotated too quickly. Never done that before. Actually had tail strike protection, but I did kind of rotate fast. Gotta admit, guts to admit. All right, so let me show you how to extend here. We're gonna go heading select, and we're gonna turn crosswind here. So 160. Just go over here about 070 and heading select by pushing it. Go down in the box. To extend, go departures arrival, 16 right, legs. Well, usually you can extend. Okay, like that. And here we go back in here. We're on a crosswind, so 340 will be a downwind. Get our box ready to go here. We're gonna go approach. 16 right. Come in and look at the nav. One 1093062. And we're just going to do a Cat 1 approach here. Should we try a Cat 3 and auto land? It can land Cat 2. We can try an auto land here. Give it a shot. Yeah, so we're in kind of a downwind. We can turn here. So approach is Isla Zulu 16 right, Cat 2, 1093, 163, Jugbit 3000, which we're at, and then radio altimeter is 116. We'll set that in a minute, which is decision altitude is 670 or 116. Puts 116 in the window. Let's turn onto a downwind. What a beautiful country. I got a lot of 9 frames per second are kind of dropping off here, aren't they, guys? I'll angle it back in a little bit, keep it a little tighter. And I'm going to go up here, put this away for a minute. Radio man's saying 2500 because we're I'm going to let it try to do an auto land with this thing, see how it does. That is the ultimate test of simhood, right? Now we'll just leave it at 0, let it auto land. It's too hard to set it. There we go. We'll come back around looking at the approach. Got the weather. Altimeter is 2992. You got Jugba at Weave at 3000, Jugba at 3000, 1093, 163. This is a Cat 2 really, but we can auto land in a Cat 2. We're not going to do a decision height, we'll let it auto land. Min sector 7900, 4800 as you can see outside. There is some terrain in the area. Look how pretty this is. Woo! Yeah, you gotta love it. Nice job, Horizon Simulations. 787-9s. All right, let's start getting ready for landing here. Don't need that. Okay, start slowing it down a little bit, angle it back out a little more. Just curious to see how this thing auto lands, or if it can, guys. All right, we'll start slowing it down a little bit. And I've got my handy dandy speeds here. Placards in the aircraft. If you want it, it's down here or down there if you're in the right seat. But flaps 1 is speed below 260. So let's go flaps 1. 2500. Flaps 1. We're going to cross weave at 3000, give ourselves the best chance to do a nice auto land. And we'll do 220. And below 250, you can go flaps 5. We'll go flaps 5. And before landing, the descent checklist is what it's going to be. Recall, auto brakes are 3. 3. Spoilers are armed. And landing data, we did approach briefing, just be a VFR with tower. Altimeter is a 2992 set. So we're done. Landing checklist to go. And I'm just going to line myself out here. Look back at the fields, take a look around. Field back there. Hope you enjoyed this review, guys. Don't forget to subscribe. That'll help me a lot. For no reason other than I enjoy doing this stuff. It's my hobby in retirement. Yeah, we can probably turn in a little earlier in the interest of saving time. So let's slow it. We'll just do a left-hand turn. Let's have a little fun. Well, normally if you were doing a Cat 3, you go way out, get yourself slowed down as much as possible. Get the airplane as stable as you could possibly get it before you turn inbound. But we'll have a little fun today and try to do it. And speed below 215, flaps 15. Angle it in. And I'm not worried about it because you got that's why I see this data mode works great, guys. That's what I've got selected here. The data. It's nice. It gives you distance from center line if you do that. And plus it gives you the information that's in your box so you don't have to look down. So it's 3,000. We are at 3,000. I just want to jug on an auto land. I think I'd like to be my approach speed. My approach speed for flaps 30. I think that's flaps 25 on an auto land on a 7.8. Flaps 25, so it's going to be 148. It's 143 plus 5, 148 with the spoilers are armed. 148. So we'll plan on being a jug completely configured. Now you can auto land Cat 2. I think this airplane though, it's got a there it is. It's got the HUD, and the reason that the airlines like to do the HUD is to not have to do auto land. So I think they might have a 50-foot decision height on this auto land. This airplane can auto land, but I think they go with like a 50-foot decision height. And the HUD that keeps the airlines from having to get it certified. Very expensive to keep it certified. So we're at flaps 15, so we can go all the way down to 160. On here, I know this is slow, I know. And we'll start to turn the heading like this. Get a nice shallow intercept. And now we can go ahead and arm the approach over here. And there's low capture. And the heading bug drives right around for you. It said 3,000 is the missed approach altitude. Nice. Other than the tail strikes, working out well, huh guys? Let's get gear down. Remember I said I wanted to be completely configured. We're 600 foot elevation, that's really 2,400 AFL. Got to sit down a little lower to get the HUD view. That circle is where you should be. The little circle is where you are, so you got to put them inside of each other. Gears down so we can go to flaps 25 because we are below 180. And what do we say the approach speed was? Flaps 23, it's 148. Yeah, they do auto lands at flaps 25. All right, so before landing checklist is complete and we're clear to land. Right, so capture, low capture. We'll see if it can do it. Let's start the camera. And maybe we can get a good view of it. You see, but no, there's a HUD on the FO's side as well as the captain's side. 7.3, we only have HUDs on the left side of American Airlines. 2,500. You don't see this very often when the guys are flying. Matter of fact, it's really funny. You'll look down and the bat wings are absolutely perfect. You're nailing them, or the bars, whatever you have in your airplane. And American has, I think, the crosshairs. And you look over there, and the guy flying's like this, and those crosshairs are just nailed because he's chasing this little sensitive thing here. I'm not criticizing because that's really important as you get down closer that you're very precise because you have a 50-foot decision height on a Cat too. See the tilt on the gear. We'll take a look around Payne Field when we land, guys. In FreakyD's airplane collection. I gotta reset a better HUD view like that. In fact, I think I'll do it right now. That's a really nice HUD view. One of my presets. So I'm gonna let it land. We do marker crossing altitude, missed approach altitude is set. You see how rollout and flare is there? And it's land 3. We get that at 1,500 feet. But red over white on the VASIs. It's doing a nice job. To me, this is the ultimate test of a good airplane, a Microsoft Flight Simulator transport category. Can it auto land? And I don't know if this one can. I've never used it. Remember, to turn it off on the runway, to turn off, we're going to have to click off the autopilot. It's easy to forget that. So we'll have to do our own reverse thrust. See if it does a good job here. Our decision height is actually 50 feet on the Cat. I think it's 116, right, on the Cat 2. There's flare. Retard.
30, 20.
Nice.
10.
I'm going to let it do it. I'm going to go reverse. Let the auto brakes handle it. In reverse, 80 knots, 60, come out of reverse. That was just beautiful. Just beautiful. Autopilot's up. Wow. That is guys, you got to get this thing. I know you got to go in and, we're not going to taxi. We'll take a look around here, okay? Flaps up after landing. Auto brakes off. You know, this is a really nice model here. Really is. I promised you a little tour. And there they are. Look at that field. It's even got a B-52 model here. Do a little tour. So Horizons, very nice. These two guys are brothers in arms. It's a new secret aircraft that's coming out by Boeing. It's called Push Pull. A little dad humor for you. 747-800. What is this one? 200, 777-200, 777-200. A lot of 777s over there. 787s. 73. Yeah, Emirates. So 300 plus a little one, a little baby Emirates in there. It's pregnant. 7-8. Nice job, FreakyD. KPAE. All right, guys. Father Time's out. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks very much. That's our review of the 7879 by Horizons. Oh, but we did promise you a review of the Autoland, didn't we? Pay no attention to all that stuff. All those noises.
500.
Watch Horizon roll it on here. It's hunting a little bit. It's hunting a little. There it goes, a little long.
10.
All right, all right. All right. Now Father Time's really out. So yeah, nice airplane. You guys should get it, but you got to get the premium.